What's up, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Much appreciated. If you guys could subscribe, that'd mean a lot. Tobin and Leroy now streaming live on YouTube every single weekday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Check us out on there and subscribe over at WQAM's channel, as many of you are. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are rallying on us on both channels, and that means a lot to old Tobe. So thank you so much. He lose 116-105 to the Brooklyn Nets. A pretty devastating loss, to be honest with you. It really snowballed there in the fourth quarter in a back and forth game, and a team that I think everybody just assumed the Heat were going to leapfrog. That Miami had been rolling a little bit, and that with the Nets making this big trade and sending off Kevin Durant and sending off Kyrie Irving, that you just assumed, oh man, the Nets are obviously, and maybe they will. I don't know. You look at them and they're 10 over right now. But this was a big one in that you only have 3 games against them this year, and this now puts you at 0-2. Unfortunate that first matchup they got screwed a little bit because the foul at the end where it was a no call on Jimmy, but that is what it is. It's in the rear view, and now a lot of different faces there in Brooklyn. So, it was a big one tonight, and you understand that Miami's, still a little bit up against it as far as their depth is concerned, because they're essentially going into these games with one NBA guard and Gabe Vincent, and then it's, all respect, Jamari Bouye, who's on a 10-day contract, and, you're relying on him to go win you some basketball games. And I think first and foremost, want to give credit to Mikal Bridges, because he was really awesome tonight, and it had to feel unbelievable for him. He cooked the Heat. I mean, 45 points, set a career high. I think I saw on Twitter that matched Kevin Durant's all-time high with the Nets. So it has to be a good day for the man they're now calling Brooklyn Bridges. But, again, one of the things that's unfortunate, Mikal is a very, very talented two-way player and one of the best defenders in the league. That being said, you don't want to be the team that's giving up a career high to Mikal Bridges, even if he is on a team that's, probably going to feature him a little bit more offensively now, because, it's kind of a hodgepodge of characters. It's a team that has a lot of wingspan and a lot of defense. I mean, you look up and down that roster, and yeah, there's not a lot of go-to scorers, but between Bridges and Claxton and Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal and even Ben Simmons making an appearance every now and then, although he was a Wowzers 1 for 2 today on the game. My God, I will say I saw like Eric and John Crotty. They were putting on the they were like getting ready to put the Rambo headband on and go at Ben Simmons today. So I think they would have loved even more opportunities to go. I mean, he only played 20 minutes. Which is pretty crazy if you think about where he was in the standing of the league just a few years ago, and now he is where he is. And they're mentioning how, you're not getting much for all that he makes. But then, unfortunately, you think to yourself, well, the Heat are kind of in the same situation with their point guard, too, in the same way. So the thing that really disappointed me with today's performance, there were a couple of things. One, it remains a thing with the Heat that you're going into these games feeling like you have to swim upstream so much if a team gets rolling from downtown, which Brooklyn did. Tonight they hit 9 more threes than you did. It was a 17-8 margin, which, is just where the score is what it is. You look around the rest of it and you're like, all right, the twos pretty even, free throws kind of even, but you look at that discrepancy on the most valuable shot in the game, and you're in just such a hard place. And Miami I don't know when they can expect that to ever really, those reinforcements to come. They did get Duncan Robinson back, who, after a rusty start, I thought had a nice start to the fourth quarter, and actually did in a couple of ways where he had a nice lob to Bam, set a nice screen for Bam to give Miami the lead, and then hit a 3. And so Duncan was kind of like, Duncan's kind of getting it going here. But you look at the fourth quarter today, and it was the lone 3 that they got was from Duncan. The Heat were 1 of 5. Brooklyn was 6 of 8 from downtown in the fourth quarter. And, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like there's your game right there. They're hitting 6 of 8 from downtown, and you're sitting here and you're having a scratch and claw. Bam. Here's the thing I would say with the Stars, right? There's a couple things that bugged me. One, Spo made a thing where he's like, we got to kind of bring into the facilitating of Bam back. We got to bring that element to his game back. Coincidentally, that's also, Miami loses a little bit of firepower because, they end up getting some injuries. They don't have any guards. So you've been seeing over the last couple of games, he's, kind of going to that facilitating mode where he's trying to set guys up, and he is really good at it. And he is, doing the dribble handoff thing today where he's trying to get some shooters open. And it really isn't until the fourth quarter where he really takes off. Like, he finished today with 24 points. 14 of them were in the fourth quarter. And, I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at this team and I'm like, you got two guys right now in Bam and Jimmy. You got an all-star, two multiple-time all-stars. I can't play this game all the time where one of them has to sit there trying to set everybody. I know that they're unselfish, but I'm talking about in a situation where you got to go shot for shot and you're drowning a little bit. I just think, playing this cat and mouse game to get everybody going can be a tough setting. So I didn't love that it basically took until the fourth quarter for them to let the reins go on Bam and let him go. Because I felt like he was mostly spending the first three quarters trying to set everybody up and get them in good spots. And, I just really feel like this guy is in such an offensive zone right now, and to have him go at a jog for three quarters to get everybody else open, it can be a little bit of a frustrating watch. I get it. They need his box score filling. They need him to give the rebounds and the assists and all that stuff. And, had some tough matchups in it with Claxton being very talented, and Ben Simmons does a good job on Bam, but still, like, you saw, him get going there late, and you're just like, why are we waiting until the fourth quarter to unleash this? And then Jimmy, I thought Jimmy, simply played his worst game of the season. He was just, it felt like he was in Aruba by halftime. Like, he was already looking forward to the All-Star break, having a week off and getting the hell out of there. And I don't call out Jimmy on this a lot because I get it. He plays a very physical style. He's very clearly the best player on the Heat. And he's there when it matters the most. But we also see this rope-a-dope type of style that he has where, he's kind of just sitting back and waiting, and then he can go and just take over a game like that. And I just thought today that engagement just never came from him. And part of that was with Mikal Bridges, who, he said after the game, hit some shots against him, but he was also like burning Jimmy and just blowing past him a few possessions. But it just really felt, like a sleepwalk game for 22 today. It did. And I get it. He's not a guy who wants to go in there and take all the shots and be the guy who's, having to shoot 20 plus times a game. But sometimes the game calls for what it calls for. And especially when, they set him up for this late game push, it's always like 6 to 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're like, all right, this is supposed to be Jimmy Butler go time. And it's not. Like, he just I don't know, just couldn't get engaged from that. And so I don't know if that's just wear and tear from the season. As he said after the game today, reinforcements are coming. Lord, do they need it? They need Tyler back. They need Vic back. They need to get some size with Omer Yurtseven, and, we'll see what ends up happening. There's a report that Russell Westbrook was allowed to speak to the Heat. He got permission from the Jazz, among other teams, not just the Heat, but among other teams. So I don't know, but it feels like, this also goes back to, not just this game, but this game kind of highlights you're doing nothing at the trade deadline. And you look at a bench tonight that was Jamari Bouye, Orlando Robinson played 4 minutes tonight, Haywood Highsmith, and Duncan Robinson playing his first game in 6 weeks. And you look at it, you're like, on a night, on certain nights, I don't know, you can win, but like, I don't know how many nights you're going to feel like you're going to be able to go to battle with that being the reinforcement for your starting lineup. It's a tough one, but I'm in that case, it's like, all right, when that's all you got to bring off the bench, it's tough not to then go, all right, I guess tonight I just needed more from the starters. And it felt like Bam got going too little too late, and Jimmy just never got going. And that was discouraging. And also, once again, they just, couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat from downtown. So a lot of today was a reflection of the worst of the construction of this team. And yes, they have gotten themselves in a better spot, but they also now find themselves 7th in the Eastern Conference. So they're in a play-in spot currently. I think the Knicks leapfrogged them today with they have one more win. The Knicks are 33-27 after their win today. They've won 3 straight. Brooklyn's sitting 5. You're 3 behind them in the loss column, but now you have to have a better record than them because they now have the season series. So I don't know, man. I think this is one of those things where you're gonna have to hope that you come back coming out swinging pretty hard, pretty heavy. And I think that was the term that Jimmy used. Gotta come out swinging in a big way. Once they come back, the first game of the season is going to be in Milwaukee. First game after the All-Star break is going to be in Milwaukee on the 24th. And, then they got this is what they got coming up. They got Milwaukee, 2 against, they got a Charlotte, 2 against Philadelphia, 1 against the Knicks, 2 against Atlanta, and 2 at home against Cleveland. That's their first 10 games out of the All-Star break. So it's a tough schedule, but everything's in front of them. I mean, everything is in front of them, but it was a tough one. Bridges just completely went scorched earth on the Heat. I mean, it was a complete demolition by him today. So mostly you got to give credit to him. He was hitting some nasty, just hitting everything, nasty shots and 1 floaters on Jimmy. Big time threes. He did bowl over Caleb Martin and then hit a 3-point shot. But I'm not going to, no sour grapes. So everybody enjoy their All-Star break. We'll have some coverage of it, of course, with, Tyler being in the 3-point contest and Bam Adebayo playing in the game. But Heat need to rally in a big way in this last third of the season.